Hi, I'm Athena Mazarakis. I'm the Momenteur of the Sew Academy for the Less Good Idea, and I'll be taking you on a virtual walkthrough of the Thinking in Poetry and Cardboard exhibition. This is an exhibition that was part of Season 8 of the Center for the Less Good Idea, and it includes three elements, components of the Sew Academy that either ran parallel to or were really integral to the development of the season. So these three elements were the Anthology, which the Center supported. That's the Woven with Brown Thread Anthology, edited by Uphila Chisala. And this informed a lot of the work that you're going to see in the exhibition. We're also going to look at some of the process and outcomes of the Thinking in Cardboard mentorship program led by Sabine Turnison. And then the third component is the Poetry Minute, which was curated by Bongile Lechoche Zulu. So come along with me and I'll talk us through how all of these elements work together. So a pathway of words or fragments of lines of poetry lead us into the exhibition. These words continue up the wall and draw us into the corner of this space where you'll see two videos, one in conversation with the other. So this video is a very special Zoom conversation featuring some of the poets of the Woven with Brown Thread Anthology. So this anthology was part of the Kala series 100 Poem Project, curated by Uphila Chisala and supported by the Center for the Less Good Idea and the Sew Academy. And this project is what gave birth to the anthology. Now, this is a wonderful Zoom conversation where we get the rare opportunity to actually hear the poems in the voice of the poets themselves.
So lighter people wouldn't be afraid. The truth is, my Gigi, whose skin was
because this is a process exhibition, we really like to reveal the process of the making of art, how we learn, how we grapple with art making here at the center. We also have a conversation here between Uphila Chisala, who edited the anthology, and Neo Pache, who designed the cover of the book.
The truth is, my Gigi was tired of
And
shaking
so,
him up and receiving no response. My Gigi was sick of you.
I could spend a bit of time here listening to this conversation, which really gives me deep insight into the process of the production of the anthology. Not just the production of the book, but the process of curating these poems and working with these 25 women, black women and non-binary persons who contributed to the anthology. This is the first book that the Center has published, so this is a very, very special project. It also becomes really important because we like to integrate things here at the Center of the Less Good Idea, and we used the poems from this anthology as the starting point or the catalyst for another major project that we've just run called the Thinking in Cardboard Mentorship Program, run by Sabine Turnison. And so we had 12 participants in this program, 6 South Africans based in Johannesburg for a period of 6 days, and 6 international participants. So there was 1 South African and 1 international participant who were paired together. And they all had to choose a poem from the anthology as their starting point. So that was the catapult, the starting point for the exploration. They had certain restrictions, so they had to work with cardboard, paper, or derivatives thereof. And they had to think intuitively through their hands, working collaboratively, which is also something that is a cornerstone that underpins the work of the Center for the Less Good Idea. They had to work and collaborate with someone across time zones, across the world, to create a 3D model. But these models were really used as generative tools for thinking. And so whereas the traditional theatre model is something that represents something which will be reconstructed at scale, these models become a universe in themselves. They become a space in which things are already happening, where there is narrative, where there is meaning. So here we have a model by Amy Sue Liska, based in Johannesburg, and Ines Marco, based in Argentina. So Ines did some of these drawings illustrations that Amy integrated. But as you can see through the movement of the camera, they really come to life through the camera. And so the outcome of this work, after creating these models, was that each pair had to create a short film around 1 minute long. And in this way, we were able to bring together the work that was happening both in Johannesburg and across the globe through the filmic element. So here we have the video of the collaboration between Natalie Paneng, based in Johannesburg, and her partner, Dian Ramaswati, based in Indonesia. And interestingly enough, with this one, part of the model was created here. We have a deconstructed version of it here by Natalie. But then the other part of it, as you can see in the film, in the projection here, was created by Dian in Indonesia. And then they used a series of overlaid images to integrate these two models to create their film. An important part of this exhibition is really hearing and understanding the thinking behind the work. So we have a little process video here that one could spend a bit of time listening to. So this was part of our final sharing as a group of 12, which we did via Zoom, where each of the couples showed us both their final product, but then also shared with us their process, their thinking, how they came to their final works. The motif of the poetry on the architecture of the space continues, and this draws us to these little exhibition boxes, continuing this idea of working with cardboard as a material. And here we are offered a deconstruction of the cover of the anthology by Neo Pache. So Neo has literally extracted each of the elements of the collage of the front cover, and she gives us an explanation of the symbolism of each of these elements. And so we get this insight, this window into the hours of thought, thinking that go into the production of a front cover of a book, an artwork. And that's really what the SO Academy is about. It's about unpacking, exploring our thinking, how we come to thinking through practice. Here we are at the staircase that leads us up onto the second level, and again we continue with the motif of text. The staircase begins to perform the poetry for us here, so we extend the thinking from the Poetry Minute, which was a program that resulted in the creation of miniature films, which you can find on our website. And all along the stairs there are these little boxes with peepholes, and if you look through the peephole you'll find fragments of the poems. These are the poems that informed the making of the models that you would have seen. And so if you look at the peephole either through your phone or through the naked eye, we're encouraging an embodied exploration of the space. We've come out of a long lockdown where we've all been stuck in this two-dimensional relationship with our screens. And so when we brought some of the projects that were on our online spaces into the space, we wanted to bring them into the space in a way that we could engage with them physically in an embodied way. So we've got the top view here of the models and the films once again. In the top level here, we have 2 more models and films from the Thinking in Cardboard program, as well as the Poetry Minute films. And you'll notice here, perhaps more than in the lower level, the use of paper and cardboard as an extension of the Thinking in Cardboard program, but also curatorially thinking about how we can come away from this digital screen and start to project onto the architecture, but also onto paper as a form. So we created this 3D projection box where we have some back projection, but then also some projection on the side there. So I just want to take you into this model, which was created by Lily Oosthuizen, who was working with Nikki Haynes in Australia. And so this is the original peephole that we've drawn on throughout the exhibition. So Lily created this wonderful little paper box, but inside this paper box is this room. And so again, it asks of us an engagement and interaction. And on the screen at the moment, you can see the way that Nikki's work combines with Lily's work. Nikki working in Australia, creating imagery, writing on a glass container, using sunlight, light and shadow, recording that to create this interior landscape that they were exploring. Here we have part of the model created by Uphila and Beatrice O'Connell in Ireland. It's a zoetrope, so if you spin this wheel, you get the animation of the fish. And you'll see the other part of that exhibition, that model in a moment. On the side of this projection box, we have some of the poems from the Poetry Minute. And so this came out of a process, a workshop process, where artists were invited to rethink poetry out of its embodied or spoken form and explore text films, looking at how poems perform themselves in different ways. And here's where we continue this peephole idea. So I'm going to just take the camera into there where you can see the zoetrope we've just looked at. Let's see that now in its final outcome in the film as an animation. And to get the full experience, I want to put the headphones on. So it offers me quite an intimate experience of this poem. I'm drawn now to what I'm hearing on the floor here, and that's a bit of a process video of the Poetry Minute workshop process. There's Bongile, the workshop participants. So side by side in this exhibition, we have both the product but also the process. We're really interested in revealing artistic processes and what goes into them. How does that influence? How does that inspire our own thinking around art and art making? So here you can really see the participants exploring with poetry in a physical way, using the text physically. And then I'm going to just zip back here because we've missed out on one of the other half of Uphila and Beatrice's model. So you would have seen this in the video, and I encourage you to go and have a look at the video because it's wonderful to see this in its almost raw form and how it transforms through projection and layering and animation to create these films. And then, as I return down the stairs, again I continue that exploration of text and how it's performed and performs itself as I go backwards down the stairs and allow a backward reading of that poem, of that line of poetry.
A story of love and courage is filled with sacrifice.
And as we come down again we're greeted with the sound of the poetry of the Woven with Brown Thread anthology, which has inspired so much of the work that we've seen in the exhibition.
Behind our necks and all we have lived. I believe she felt the ground was too heavy for
And that's that.
her to fly elsewhere and river.
And just as it brought us in, it takes us out the space as well. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching this and joining us on this virtual tour. Please do keep engaging with our programs. Keep an eye on our social media pages and keep an eye on our website. We keep it updated. We'd love to engage with you further. Thanks.